as somebody who has struggled with body dysmorphia in the past, and I think that that's something a lot of people struggle with, and there's nothing to be ashamed of, but I consider myself to be fully recovered now. Something miraculous happened to me last December where I got really sick, and there was a divine intervention which saved my life, because I finally untethered myself from that obsessive attitude or that obsessiveness that I had around working out. And I just want to be clear, there's nothing inherently wrong with moving your body. I still swim every other day. I do it for like 25 minutes, but I don't need it. But I used to be a heavy lifter at the gym. Nothing wrong with the gym. But like anything in life, if you get a payoff from it, meaning if you get results from what you're doing, you're going to want more. And that can become problematic, because then you're going to get hooked to it. And then when you don't have access to that gym or to that yoga studio or to a run or whatever, you're jogging, then you may not be balanced. You're gonna wobble out of alignment because you're so dependent on it. So one of the things I had to do was I had to counteract my old patterning, which is to say I had to take contrary action. So the greatest way you can heal yourself in life with anything is you do the opposite of what you're used to doing. Okay, so you skip your workouts, or you stay away from toxic people who bring out the worst in you. It could be anything in life. All right. So you have to do the opposite action. And then that can be very uncomfortable, right? Because then you're, oh my God, I'm feeling destabilized because I'm not used to not having that. But then you find that you sink deeper into your emotional body and you learn to accept and embrace yourself as you are. Yeah. You're going to see your body change. Everything's going to transform, but for the better. Because now you're not as rigid, you're not as strict, you're not as planned, right? And these things can consume you. They can own you. You become a slave to them. So one of the things you want to do is counteract your old patterning and then find peace in your heart and allow the transformation to happen. This is the most effective way to heal yourself, is to love yourself again, to restore yourself back into a state of peace and feeling comfortable in your own skin. Another thing that really helped me was I started reframing it, because people would say to me, well, you have an addiction to the gym. But the truth is I don't have an addictive personality. It's just something that I had done for 20 years. And so I reinforce that pattern, and any pattern that you reinforce or energize is going to, in a way, take over your life because you're getting results from it. So one of the great reframes for me was I'm not addicted to it or attached to it. What it is that the universe is trying to propel me on my path so that I can fulfill my destiny of becoming a spiritual teacher. I don't like that word, but of becoming a spiritual teacher who can freely travel, who can be flexible, who isn't tied to this thing. And that way I can fulfill my destiny. So a good reframe for you, if you're struggling with this, is rather than thinking of it as you're addicted to it, instead see it as maybe being attached to it is preventing me from becoming who I'm meant to be now. In the past, it was fine, but I've outgrown it, and now it's standing in the way of who I'm meant to become. Does that make sense? So don't see it as a negative. See it as you're holding on to something that represents who you used to be. And if you're holding on to who you used to be, you will not become the next version of you. And so to become the next version of you, you have to loosen your grip. You have to be more flexible. It's like a parent. A parent might go to the gym and then they have a newborn and they're at home more. But they come into more love because they're more selfless. They're not obsessing over what their body looks like anymore. And that's freedom. So it's incredible what starts to happen to you when you fully accept yourself and you go against your old patterning. You starve that old patterning. And through that, your heart expands, your heart opens. Not only that, you start to attract people who aren't shallow, who aren't superficial, who aren't vain. So the quality of people you start to attract is top notch because you're top notch and you attract what you are and you attract what you're not. And so if you're insecure, you might attract a partner who says he loves you or who says she loves you. But if you gain a little weight, they're going to run for the hills. They're going to drop you. Yeah, but when you're not obsessed with your body, you start to interact with people who are who have substance to them. They see beneath the surface, right? They're not just hooked to vanity and hooked to your appearance. So it's a beautiful thing. This journey is incredible, but in order to heal yourself, you can't constantly run from what you would feel if you did skip your workout. At some point, you have to sit with that. You understand? You have to sink into your body and feel that discomfort, feel that disturbance, so that you can come into a greater measure of self-love. But that can only happen if you're willing to face off with yourself, with that dark side of yourself that you keep avoiding by constantly running to the gym, right? So that you can look a certain way. All of that is very superficial. So at some point you have to sit down, skip the gym, skip the workouts, and learn to love yourself again, right? And don't play a mind trick. This is what your mind's going to want to do. Oh, I can skip today because I know I'm going tomorrow. No. That's not healing. You have to skip it as if you're never going back, okay? This way you can start to regenerate energy within your body because you've been so mean to yourself. You've been forcing your muscles to work when sometimes all they want to do is rest, right? So we've been holding the body hostage for so long. And is that fair to the body? No. Is it fair to ourselves? No. All that, what, in the name of being adored and getting that sense of instant gratification? Forget that. Do you want to be free in this life? Then you have to break out of those chains. And that requires a commitment to yourself, coming into a higher measure of self-love. So I hope this helps you. And this can take a long time, or it can happen very fast. It's just a choice. I choose to no longer be a slave to this thing. I choose to become free now. Yeah? And that doesn't mean you have to stop exercising or anything. It just means that you don't need it in order to feel powerful. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who need it in order to feel powerful have a weak mind. Because if you took it away from them, who would they be? They would freaking panic. They would freak out, which is indicative of a weaker mind, which really just means they're not willing to heal their traumas. So they keep covering them up with their appearance, with how they look. This is not good, right? We have to get to the core of all of it. And a lot of it is insecurity, it's fear, it's unsafety, not feeling safe in the world. So we need to look a certain way to feel powerful. And so, yeah, it's an incredible journey. But the two things I want to offer you is this. Reframe it to you are not addicted. It's just that now, at this stage in the game, it's getting in the way of who you're supposed to be. Okay? It's taking away from the freedom that you're supposed to have, from the creativity that you're supposed to have in your life. Right? And then the second thing is take contrary action. You have to counteract that patterning. I love you.